Well, hey there, welcome back. This is part 4 of OCC Workshop, and we're filling our shoebox. This one's kind of bulging at the seams with all the different stuff that we're putting in it. Then that's a good thing. One thing I want to remind you of is the heart that's behind the shoebox. It's for the souls of all the children, and everyone that it touches gets a blessing. Every time we open the box, we pray over it when we're filling it. Then when it goes to turned in at the church, it gets prayed over. When it's inspected and put in the cartons, it's prayed over. When it gets to the processing center, it's prayed over many times. They stop once an hour and pray. So lots of love and lots of blessings and lots of good feelings go in these boxes. And this is one way. If you can't be a missionary in the foreign fields, you can be a missionary at home at the, fulfilling the Great Commission that Jesus asked us to tell the world about him. So let's get started with number 4. We're going to be covering some puzzles, some scissor keepers, a bear, a little cuddly bear made out of Minky, and then a cuddle buddy. So I'll get started. Grab the basket for the puzzle. Okay, this is a take on something that I had seen, and this is what the kit looks like. We're making puzzles using popsicle sticks out of our Sunday school lesson sheets that's left over. This, I teach the 3 and 4-year-olds, and this is their lesson sheet. It has a visual picture. It has the story that is told to them, and it has some sort of an activity on the back. Well, the group that I have and the materials that they order for me, I always have some left over. And if I don't have a lot left over, I can always make copies. But this is one thing that we can do with it. So the kit comes with 2 of these, and the reason we need 2, I'll show you, is that one is going to be glued onto the popsicle sticks, and one is going to be the front of a card with the lesson as the back of the card. So that's your instruction sheet that will be included in the link down below. And here's an example of what's in the kit. 8 popsicle sticks. We determined that that's a real good number for putting these on and creating the puzzles. So what we do is cut out 2 of the pictures with the narration that explains the story, and then we just use any thin cardboard just to give it some substance, because we're going to be gluing the story and the picture back to back so that they'll know what the puzzle is supposed to look like, and they can hear the story about the puzzle while they're putting it together. So we need 1 copy to go on the puzzle. And this is the way we do that. We take the puzzle, line up the popsicle sticks, and we're going to use the rubber cement. Just a word of caution, I've tried it with Elmer's glue and it bubbles. It won't lay flat. So if you use rubber cement, you'll get a better end product. If you're not familiar with rubber cement, it's a contact glue, and it contacts and bonds with itself. So we're going to have to paint the back of the picture and all of the popsicle sticks and let it dry just a few seconds, maybe 10 to 15 seconds. And then you can, when it comes in contact with each other, be sure you got it centered really good above before you let go. Then you let go and press, and it is there. If it has glue on each side, once it contacts itself, it makes a bond. if you only want to have a temporary bond, just glue one side and not the other, and then it's removable. That's good to know. So this is what I do. Sometimes, especially with the little ones, the picture is kind of complicated. The colors are pretty much all the same, especially up here. After it's glued, dried and glued, then I will flip it over, and I'm going to pretend I flipped it over, and I will number on the back of this 1 through 8 in the correct order, like this. And that way, even if they don't recognize how the picture goes together, they can turn the popsicle sticks over and find it. If you've got really small children, I'll number this on the front, and that gives them an immediate way to put the puzzle together without getting frustrated. The next part is a little bit more complicated, and I'll be right back with you after I get my X-Acto knife and show you how to do that. Okay, I found my knife and I got my glue. I also picked up a ruler just so that I can keep a straight edge. Now here are my popsicle sticks all lined up. I'm going to put some of this rubber cement. If you've never seen it, it looks kind of goopy. But I'm going to just liberally put some on while I'm holding the sticks, because they'll slide if you're pulling against it. And I want to make sure I've got everything covered so that my paper will stick. And where I held it down there, I'm going to go ahead and put some on this end. Okay, so I'm using Elmer's rubber cement, not Elmer's white glue. And then I'm going to arrange it so that my sticks are going the same way as the length of the picture. And make sure everything is still straight. Okay. And we're pushing it down. So I'm going to lay my ruler on top of it. Okay, while we're doing that, I'm going to rubber cement my 2 sides on this cardboard, so I'll have the picture as well as the description. So I need to apply some to each side, remember, getting the corners real good. It does have a little bit of fumes, but not anything uncomfortable that you can't use inside, and it's no cautions of any kind on it. So we're going to give that just a minute to dry, and I'll be right back with you. Okie dokie. I'm now ready to assemble my little pie here. And then I'm going to paint the back side. Well, I'm going to have to trim because I didn't line it up. Be careful when you're assembling. I'm going to put some on the back side of this one, and then we'll put those 2 together. If you put too much, it'll run out. But the nice thing about it, the cleanup is wonderful. All you do is rub it, and it will dry out and peel up into a little ball, and you just rub it and do it over a trash can, and it rubs right off of your skin, and really on a table or anything else too. So give that just a minute to dry before I put those 2 pieces together. And you probably caught that I forgot to put the rubber cement on the other side in my excitement. Okay, so it did not stick. I'm going to see if I can get it off of here without disrupting it too much. Okay, so my strategy is going to be to go back and add just a little bit more. There's still some on here, but since I may have lifted it off, I'm going to go back and put some more on this as well as my picture, because you have to have two sides for it to bond. Okay. Now the back side of my picture. And that's the way I want it to go. I've got the numbers on here that I'm covering up because I thought I might be able to label it on the front and show you what I meant, but this picture is very large. They're not always the same size, I found out. So this one is very large, and I want to keep all of it. So once it's glued together, before I cut it, I'll just number the sticks again. Okay, moving over here. This should be dry enough, and I want to make sure I've got them. This is my top, and this is my top. So line them up before I turn it loose. Be smart on this one. Okay. Okay, and that's going to be stuck. You're not going to pull that apart. Even before it's good and dry, I can feel it's still a little bit moist, but it's good and dry. Okay, looks like it's pretty dry. And this is the order that I want it to be. Okay, I want to make sure that my popsicle sticks have not overlapped each other, that they are all laying flat. And I've got a little bit left over down here, you can see. All I have to do is rub it like this, and it'll peel right up. I'm saying P-I-L-L, peel. Make little pills right up. And you could leave that on there, it'll be sticky and it'll be sticking to everything, but just do that and it. Okay, the sides look good. Okay, so what I have is a very flexible, where this is glued on, it's very flexible. After it dries just a little bit more, I'm going to take my take the top off, take my utility blade, I guess that's the bottom, and it goes this way. There we go. Take my utility blade, and I'll let that spread just a little bit. I'm going to let it dry first, but I'm going to let that spread a little bit, and I'll take this and go and make a nice cut between each one of them. And that's how you get your individual pieces. But I'm going to let that dry a little bit more before I cut, and I am going to number them. Because when the kids can't do it and ask me to help, I want to be able to to put them in order. You can look at the top of the puzzle box and figure it out, or look at the picture and figure it out. But it sure helps when you have the numbers. So let's see if that's, I believe that's dry enough to just spread just a little bit, enough to get the knife in there. I usually do it on the corner of something, so I'm going to see if I can just kind of wrap it over here, if that'll give me enough to be able to do it. Okay, so you have your first part of the puzzle. That's how you do it. And that is number one of our puzzle. So you get the idea of how we put this puzzle together. you may have something like this. If you don't, and you're interested, I can send you some sheets. Or if you have one sheet but don't have two, just take it to the color copier and make your second copy. That's what I do sometimes when I don't have enough to get the second picture. But that's how you do it. And here's an example of one that's already finished. It's a different picture, of course. Let's see if we can figure out how to put this together. You got it? Let's make it easy. Here's number 8. That looks like the bottom, and here's number 1. Okay, we should have a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and an 8. And let's see if we've got them facing the right directions. And line them up. Oops, I think that one's upside down. Try it that way. Does that fit? Have I got it right? Have I got something else upside down? It's upside down to me, so there we go. Okay, just needed to be lined up. Okay, so that's how you make puzzles with leftover lessons and popsicle sticks. Okay, now we're going to go on to scissor holders, and that's something that we like to include in the shoe boxes along with their school supplies, some crayons and scissors. I'll be right back. Okay, this is our little scissor holder, and it really will hold 3 pairs of scissors. We only send one, but the upper one will hold this, and then this tiny little pocket will hold the little snippers. That's the way it's made, but we usually send them like this with just a pair of school scissors. But let me show you how simple it is to make. This is the kit, and this is the pattern. Looks pretty simple, doesn't it? So we're going to cut 2 pieces of fabric from our kit. Because we have an inside and an outside. So we're cutting 2 pieces of fabric using this pattern. You're going to put the right sides together and sew all the way around, leaving just like about a 1 inch or 1.5 inch opening, just enough that you can turn it inside out. And then, of course, close up that little opening. And then all you do now is follow the fold directions on your sheet. So this becomes the first fold to make the first pocket. This becomes the next fold for the next pocket, and then your third pocket, and you get a nice color array. Let's see, here's the finished one. And the way this has been finished is you take your sewing machine and stitch right down here. Well, first you'll stitch this one. You'll stitch right down here. That makes that pocket. Then when this is folded, you'll stitch on the outside here, and that closes all the rest of them up. And you're ready for your scissors to go in. Real simple to make. Real easy to do. You'll have a very simple set of instructions and a pattern linked below. Okay, that was pretty simple, wasn't it? How about let's make a bear, a little cuddly bear. Isn't this just the cutest thing? It's made out of minky fabric. It's so soft, the little nubby fabric. So soft. Simple as can be. Follow the pattern. You'll cut 2 front and back. You'll stitch about 1/8 of an inch because this doesn't fray. So you can stitch about 1/8 of an inch, following all these contours all the way around, and leave just a little opening on a straightaway so that you can turn it inside out. This one has a little embroidery face, and here's a sample of the face on the pattern. So you can either leave it plain if you want a plain one like that and put a little bow around his neck. Make it very simple. You can just turn these out, or if you have the patience, you can embroider a face on it. But cute size, really sweet fabric, and feels so good. Very simple if you're a sewer. The next one is called a Cuddle Buddy, and it's a little bit more involved, but not so much. Of course, you have your pattern, but this is what it looks like. You've probably seen the baby blankets that have the little head on them, and then the rest of it's a blanket, and they can cuddle with it. I'll show you. It's just a square piece with a little animal head attached, sewn onto it. And there's the back. It just shows the stitch line. Okay, let's take a look. This is what the kit looked like. Okay, you had a face and rabbit ears if you want to do the rabbit. But let me show you what I found at the dollar store. This cute little bag that was the face and the ears of a bunny rabbit, I guess to put some jelly beans in for Easter. But isn't that as cute as can be? Well, this was packaged 2 for $1. So all I did was take the pattern and adapt it to use all of the space of the bunny's face. And on the ears, I cut them down. You can see it's not as long as the whole ear. I cut it down, and it's not as pointed. I cut it off about right here. And when I was making the front and back of the face, I just tucked the ears in and sewed it all around, left a little bit opening right here at the bottom. The ears are floppy. The face is stuffed. So I stuffed it nice and firm and then sewed the bottom together. Cut me a square of fabric, laid this on here, turned it upside down, turned it over like that, and just whipped it onto the blanket, whip stitched it onto the blanket. So it really went fast, especially with already having the little face that I didn't have to take time to embroidery or paint on. So this is what was in the kits that we gave out. It had the patterns already cut out for them, some stuffing, the pattern. We included one of the little bags, but I'm sure these are seasonal type things. If you can find the face already, it'll save you time. And made this a little cuddle buddy. Now, this is made out of real soft felt, but if you use that minky, that'd make it even softer. Okay, thank you for joining me today. We have made several crafts. This is our number 4, and we made several crafts. We did the puzzles, we did the scissor keeper, we did the little cuddle bear, and we did the cuddle buddy. And this is episode number 4 of the workshop for Operation Christmas Child. We have number 5 coming up, so stay tuned. God bless.